at this point, she's starting to compete. Are you taking her once a week individually at this point?
When she started to compete around 7 or 8 years of age, that's when I started to work with her on my own. She would have done between 2 and 3 one-to-one lessons a week. They would have been an hour long. It wouldn't have been any more than that in terms of one-to-ones. And I think now that's quite important, because I don't know what it's like where you are, but certainly here in the Southeast, people are wanting 2 lessons a day, every day, hour and a half at a time. And it's quite difficult to try and explain to them that you don't actually need to do quite as much as that. And I know, because I know I've got a team of coaches, and it's the same for them as it is for me. If you don't do that as a coach, a lot of the time these parents will go and find another coach that will do it. And it's quite challenging, actually. But she didn't do one-to-one lessons like they were going out of fashion. Far from it. She did 2 or 3 a week. But the important thing is, when she was there, she was totally switched on and didn't waste a single second of those lessons. Whereas some of the children now, you know, they don't concentrate as much, or they turn up late or whatever. And they don't maximize the time. She maximized every single second, every single ball that she hit in those sessions.
So we're on 2 to 3 individual lessons a week, competing fairly often. Yes. Groups on top of that?
Yeah, she did same really, between 2 and 3 groups. I mean, one of the things that Ian was, I mean, he was so good to work with, Ian, you know, and he taught me so much as a coach, you know, and he still does now. You know, when I speak to him now, it's like I get nervous speaking to him, because I think, it's not going to be an easy ride. You know, I don't see him that often, but if I do bump into him, he'll say, "Oh, how about a coffee?" And I'm like, "Oh no, this is going to be," you know, he's going to challenge me. He always challenges me. And when she was little, you know, I was probably quite enthusiastic. I was probably saying, "Look, you need to do 2 or 3 squads a week, some one-to-ones on top." And he went with it. And after half a term, he turned around to me and said, we're trimming this. It's too much tennis. And I think she dropped a squad actually in a one-to-one, and we did like 2 and 2. And he's the first person and the only person to ever say that to me to this day. And the reason why he did that was because he felt she was just doing a little bit too much tennis, and the novelty was wearing off a little bit, you know, and he wanted to try other things. And I don't think choose, but, you know that she had options, which I think is really important.
Yes. I don't know if you know anything about my coaching, but for over 30 years, I've specialised in coaching under 10s, but the better ones, with a view to what they will do when they're 18 plus.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a long journey. So I've always felt there's a responsibility to protect their mental health and their bodies for the long journey. So that resonates with me really well, that it's not a massive program, but this is enough to get the job done, obviously, because it did get the job done. So well done for that.
Yeah, you know, and it was, I remember at the time, because before I coached her, I coached some other players who were, you know, pretty good, you know, for their age at the time. And certainly there was this kind of obsession to do more, you know, and she's an example of someone who went, hang on, we're actually going to do a little bit less for a couple of months. And it worked, I think. So that's a big message to send, I think, to anyone watching this video.
And also, it's been well documented that she had a lot of other activities as well. Do you think that was the right way to go?
I think a lot of these kids, when we see them, like I said earlier on, they're going to be the real good ones. They're going to be good at most things they turn their hand to, because they're able, you know, they've got good hand-eye coordination, good endurance, good flexibility. You know, they've got the traits, haven't they, that you need to be a good tennis player, which will transfer into other sports. And I think I think it's healthy they do other things, because I think they appreciate the tennis a little bit more. And, you know, for me, I view it like you. I view it as a journey. I view it as I always talk about the person first and the player second. And, you know, there's been examples of kids that have come through our coaching program, kids that I've taught individually. There's actually a chap who was Emma's peer group, who was always very good at tennis, always did loads and loads of other things. And I always used to say to his parents, he actually does need to do a little bit more tennis. And he did. He barely did anything, but he was very good. He's actually now playing for Portsmouth Football Club.
Yeah.
He's a semi-pro footballer. And I think, again, he's managed to do that because he did tennis, he did cricket, he did all these other things. And our role in their journey, you know, it's not sacred. You know, we've just got to do the best we can with them at the time and give them the opportunity to blossom in whatever they want to blossom in. And if it's tennis, like Emma, then it's a bonus. You know, it's like, yes, we've done a real good job here, and it's tennis that she's chosen. But you know what? This other chap, I equally look back and think, yeah, we did a good job with him, because if we hadn't have done a good job with him, he wouldn't have gone on to play football, because we'd have made him play tennis and he didn't really want to do it. He wanted to do his football. So we worked with his parents. He did a bit of everything, and that's the road that he decided to go down. Emma decided to go down the tennis road, but I think whatever Emma chose to do, she would have been very successful at it.
How involved were the parents at this stage?
I would say that the dad was more involved than the mum. You know, I think the dad, like a lot of the families that we work with, there's always either one of the parents or both have the freedom to take the kids around, don't they, to the various things. And I think the dad had the freedom to do that. The mum, I think her employment didn't allow for it. She was, you know, when she was at work, she was at work. The dad, I think he could do a bit more on the road, and his job allowed him to do it. And he was, you know, as I said to you earlier on, he was just really good to work with. You know, he listened, he asked lots of questions. He didn't make any snap decisions. There was no knee-jerk reactions. He was very methodical. You could tell he was in it for the long term. Right. And he wasn't over the top. He wasn't. He just did what I would expect any parent to do. You know, he made sure that she got to sessions. He encouraged her to listen, pay attention, and work hard. He took on board what the coach said and would go away and work on it with her or reinforce it. And he was always very grateful. He'd always thank you, and just very pleasant. You know, whilst I felt pressure working with him, it was good pressure. It wasn't about her winning and losing. It was about her just getting better. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He was really, really good fun to work with. Actually, got nothing but good things to say about him.